What's up guys, my name is Dean, aka the Blue Crusader, and welcome back to the channel. So today guys, I've actually got a really cool idea for a brand new series that I want to actually start. So right now we're actually on GTA San Andreas. You may be familiar with the setting and the location of everything, because this is actually where you start a brand new save and you start the beginning of the game's story. Now, this video is actually going to be a comparison between the normal GTA San Andreas, which is I believe a 2005 release, and updating the game with brand new graphics. So what I want to do with this series, to put it short, is basically revisit old games and also slightly modernize games and put graphics mods and upgrades to the games that are actually moddable and modify their engines slightly to make them look more visually appealing and compare the old versions and the new versions. And especially with the older games like San Andreas, with the mods they'll look much more updated and may even look like brand new games or games of the current era when they actually have upgrades to the graphics. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to actually do this to GTA San Andreas. So as you can see, this is the normal vanilla San Andreas. This is a 2005 release, so it's a very old game at this point. It's nearly 13 years old. It's just absolutely crazy how old this game is now, because it's still a great game, it's still playable, and the story is still one of the best in the GTA franchise. But if we just run along a little bit, as you can see, this car is slightly glitched, but this is just the normal vanilla GTA. Nothing's changed with it. This is just how it's always been. Now, this version is actually the Steam version. This is the Steam retail version of GTA San Andreas, and we're running it currently in 1080p. So the graphics are kind of improved a little bit, and the game looks a bit more visually appealing just because we're in 1080p resolution, but that's just the standard in the options that comes with the Steam version of the release. So in order to do this, I'm actually going to show you the comparison. I will be recording some individual clips on the game and try and compare them. But in order to do this, what I want to do is I'm actually going to use two versions of the game. So currently we are on the Steam version, like I said, but also I have another version which is the disc version, which came on CD-Rom, and I do have that installed as well. And I'm going to be putting the graphics mods on the disc version, which is an older version of the game, which supports mods a little bit better. Just so you get an actual idea of what everything looks like, this is what the PC version looks like. And now what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to the other version. Now that you've actually seen what everything looks like normally in the Steam retail version, we're going to switch straight over into the CD-ROM version, where I've actually installed a few mods. So I'm actually going to put the mods down in the description below. It's just one main mod which changes everything, but there's a lot of different settings which we can fool around with. And I'm going to do one comparison shot at the end of the video to show you what everything looks like side by side at that start bit where we just began at a few moments ago, and I'm going to be showing you a few different comparisons of that. This mod which we have on the CD-ROM version, which I'm going to be showing you momentarily, is basically just a graphics mod, more importantly an ENB mod. So there's a lot of ENBs for games like Skyrim, and it basically just improves the game's lighting and adds a few different graphical effects to make everything look more modern. Now, just with the ENB alone, it doesn't really bring up the game to look modernistic fully, but it makes it look a lot nicer, and you'll definitely see when we do compare it. And this is an ENBSeries mod which you can get off the website GTA Inside, and all of the links will be in the description below. So, now we're going to switch over to the other version, and I'm going to show you what GTA San Andreas can look like if you get the right graphical mods, and how much more of a new game it will actually look in comparison to the normal version. And this is what it actually looks like on the classic CD-ROM version with the ENB mod installed. As you can see, we do have a few different effects going. We have FX AA going, we have Bloom actually enabled, and so many different graphical mods which makes everything look so much nicer. Now, I wouldn't really say that these mods make it look like a modern game, but it definitely does improve the look and feel of the game, and the engine is much more improved than the classical version which I showed you, or the Steam version which we had a look at before. Obviously we don't actually have any graphics mods. Another thing which I could have done is actually enabled some graphical mods or some texture mods for the cars to make everything a little bit more better, a bit more visually appealing, and maybe increase the texture resolution on things like vehicles and buildings a little bit higher, but I haven't actually done that. All that we're running at the minute is the ENB, and as you can see, it still does improve the look of all the vehicles anyway. All of the cars have shinier looks to them, like the bonnets and the metal and the finish on the cars. The buildings look a lot better with the different lighting to it. It kind of looks more bleached, the lighting, but it still looks really nice. As you can see, all the greens on the grass and everything looks really great. All the greens are actually more vibrant, all the crops look better, everything just looks brighter, especially when it's sunny. It looks absolutely amazing. I think it just improves everything, it makes everything look a lot nicer. We have depth of field on as well, so if you look in a certain direction it will make all the other things out of your vision a little bit more blurry, which is quite nice. I'm not sure if that affects the FPS or makes it better, seeing as you're blurring things rather than looking straight at them, but everything looks a lot better than it did before. And also with this mod, I will link the ENB mod in the description below just so you know, but with this mod, if we press shift and enter, we can actually get a little console like this. Now you might not be able to see it because there's a camera in the way, but basically all this console does is it allows us to enable the effect and disable the effect. So this is what it looks like with the effect off. I guess this is also another comparison because I am going to do a side by side at the end, but this is what it's like with the effect off, and then when we turn on the effect it looks like this. A lot of difference really. I mean, the base game doesn't look terrible by any means, but definitely with all these shaders and all the ENB mods piled on, enabled, makes everything look so much better. And we can also enable the shadows here. As you can see, it does draw shadows on your players and cars and things like that. But one thing that I'm actually really interested to see with this mod is the fact that it does have a big profound effect on water in the game. It does have a big effect on water in the game. So what I want to try and do is I want to actually try and find a body of water in the game just to show you what it actually looks like with this effect on. And I'm actually also going to turn the effect off so we know what everything looks like without it, because water's obviously a huge thing. If you have really basic blocky looking water, it really doesn't look very good. But if you have shaders and graphical mods on the water is mainly something which makes or breaks the look of a game. And if the water looks amazing with mods, you know you're doing something right. So I'm going to quickly find some water and just see how much of an effect this mod has on it, and we'll see the comparison between Classic and the ENB. Okay, so here we are coming into the beach side, and we can have a look at the water effect here. As you can already see from a distance, the water is actually way better than the vanilla one. Obviously we should have expected that because we have a mod on, and the water is looking really nice and clear. You can see the reflections off it. It's a nice blue shade which looks a lot nicer than the original water, I'm not gonna lie. And we have everything such as the pier and the nice greenery on the top, and the water with all the reflections. And this mod, as you can see, it's kind of weird how it reflects the player like that. I don't think that's how it should be because we're not even looking at the water at this point. The water just looks absolutely crazy, guys, and this is how it should look on a modernized game. This is definitely a big improvement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the shader and show you what it looks like without the water on, but I'm going to keep the ENB on just so we still have all the graphics on, but I want to see what the water looks like by default. This is what the water looks like by default with the ENB still on but the water effects off. As you can see, it's really basic, there's no depth to it, it's just one solid texture plane which is kind of drifting. If we turn off the effect as well, the ENB, this is without the ENB on, it just looks really basic. Now I think with the ENB it does actually change some of the graphics a little bit. As you can see, the models and everything is kind of improved a little bit anyway from the base game. So the first edition, the Steam version which I showed you at the start of the video, still looks a little bit worse than this because this mod kind of does improve a few things even when the effects turned off. But the water just looks really basic anyway. I think all the mod has done without the effect on is it's changed the colour of the water. I think usually the vanilla game has a much darker look to it, but without the effect on, the water still looks pretty bad even though it's been changed. But as you can see, all in all, guys, it's absolutely crazy how this has actually turned out. With the ENB enabled, it makes all the textures look nice, the lighting just looks ridiculous. I mean, with the bloom and depth of field on, The pier just looks amazing from this distance because it kind of levels things out and it kind of blurs just the right things. I don't know how to describe it, guys, it just looks absolutely awesome. My only complaint is with the water. Even if you're not staring directly below into the water, it still kind of makes your character blurry and has the sort of watery reflections of your character, you've probably noticed, which is kind of annoying and that's kind of a shame. But everything else is absolutely perfect. I mean, this game definitely looks a lot newer, everything just looks nicer, and I think I'd be safe to actually play the story mode again on this game with this mod enabled because it makes everything look nicer. So tell me what you guys think with this mod. I have included a few comparison shots throughout this video to show you what everything looks like, especially with the water. I showed a comparison of the reflections and the mod enabled and then without the effect, and also what the vanilla game looks like, the basic one on Steam, without any mods or graphical improvements enabled at all. So let me know what you guys think of this video. If you want to see more like this, then definitely like the video. Drop a comment below suggesting which game I should do next. Subscribe to the channel for daily videos just like this one so you don't miss out on future videos, and I will definitely be continuing this series with some more games with graphical mods, comparing them to the vanilla game and what they look like with graphical improvements. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.